Hey, and welcome back, everybody. We got She-Hulk episode 2 for our after show this round. This one is Superhuman Law. Jen is finding herself on the outskirts after her little soiree in the courthouse. We pick up like immediately right after. Now, Kevin, got a question for you about this episode.
Yeah.
Do you know where the best place to poop is?
Oh, you go down the hall, make two rights, and then walk straight for a little while. You won't see any people. You won't have to open the door and like destroy anybody as soon as you come out. Nothing like that. You're going to have a nice, quiet poop.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you for the map. I needed that.
Oh, yeah.
Gotcha.
Not here.
Yep. No. No. And I ain't going to your house for that anyway. So.
This was like the most delightful end credit scene I've ever seen.
I love these end credits with the art like that. I think that's great. I mean, I know Marvel's done stuff like this before, but I like seeing like this in particular because it gives you like, I don't know if this is like the pre-production concept art or if they just thought, hey, let's do something fun for the credits till we get to our mid-credit scene, and then we'll go from there with the standard one after that.
Yeah, and these are fun because it looks just like the comic book. I mean, I haven't looked up to see who's doing it, but for all I know, it is artists who have worked on She-Hulk before because it looks perfect.
Yeah, it looks really phenomenal. I get just as much a kick out of that as I am the mid-credit scene, which this time around was more of just a typical, oh, somebody's making use of her and of the family nature. Is like, oh, well, you're another Hulk, so we're going to make use of you while you are in your Hulk form.
Right. And that end credit scene, I mean, even though it did nothing for the future of the plot you'd figure or the show,
right,
it really kind of defines what kind of show this is. Like, this is still a show about family.
Yes.
We saw a little bit of that in the last episode between her and Bruce, but now we're seeing her actual family who come off as very Greek.
Yeah, they do.
And just the silly, stupid things that they have her do. Like the dad has like 8 5-gallon drums of water, and she's just carrying it like groceries.
Yeah.
Or picking up the car, holding it. They're just fun stuff. Things, you do have other people do.
At least you're hydrating, Dad, was a great little line. She's like, I can't believe you're making me do this. Thanks a lot, Dad.
I loved her dad. I mean, aside from the fact that that's cousin Larry, her dad was very considerate of her, more so than anyone else in the family. Mom's wanting to pass her off and giving her phone number out to perfect strangers because they want to be a superhero too.
Right.
Dad just wants to make sure she's okay with everything. So
even though he's got his like little hang up about, I need to know about Hawkeye and the arrows he leaves laying around if he really picks them up, because those could be really dangerous.
Yeah, right. I actually have found several arrows in my backyard because whoever was living here before must have had an archery set. There's like 4 or 5 arrows that I've caught out there, like buried.
A damn green arrow.
I want to say they had some nice shaft on them, but anyway.
No kidding. Since we're talking about cousin Larry here for just a moment, Mark, I forget his last name. I know you just told me before we started, but it'd be great if they got Bronson Pinchot in here somewhere as like a distant uncle or even like a cousin.
That would be.
He doesn't even have to be Balky, but he could just come in and just be like, it'd just be great to see one more scene with those two. And I think that'd be great.
That would be pretty wonderful. Like if they did that, like hats off to Marvel. That would just be the coolest thing they've ever done for TV, aside from, oh God, making Loki. But right. that was pretty great. There was one other guest star this episode that made me even more excited than seeing cousin Larry, and that was Josh Segarra, the gentleman that plays Pug.
Okay.
Or gave her the map for pooping.
Right.
He plays Billy on the TV show Sirens I was telling you about.
Okay, yeah.
And he's really awesome in it. Totally funny.
Wasn't he also in Arrow or something like that? One of the other CW shows too?
Yes, he was an Arrow. I just can't remember what
Yeah, I can't remember.
who
I
he
think he
was.
was a villain, but I don't know.
That sounds about right. Let me
It's been a
see
while since
here.
I've seen Arrow.
Known for. Oh, and he's going to be in Scream 6. Good on him.
Oh, cool.
Arrow. Adrian Chase Prometheus. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay. Yep, that sounds right.
So they, oh, wow, okay. That's a Batman villain, but that's a Warner Brothers thing for you anyway.
Yeah, they were doing that.
Well, it was, and it has been the reason since Smallville. They always had Oliver stand in for Bruce because
Right.
Warner Brothers wouldn't let Bruce be on TV.
Correct.
So they gave a lot of the Batman storylines over to Arrow, and that was okay. It made him a little cooler.
Right. Well, just to get onto that, that's actually a good like segue into the episode as a whole, is like calling back to the Incredible Hulk, where we have Abomination back, and Tim Roth was fantastic. But the fact that they even had Bruce Banner talking to Jennifer about like, yeah, we had a fight long ago, and yeah, it was almost like a completely different person back then, literally.
Yeah, right.
And I couldn't stop laughing every time. I've watched this now twice, and each time I popped.
There is a lot of zen in this show and a lot of forgiveness. Like
Yeah.
when she comes in and sees Emil Blonsky or Tim Roth, and he just tells her, "Namaste." I almost lost my shit.
Yeah, the second he did that, I was just like, oh, this is gonna be really good.
And he's writing haikus
Yep.
as
Heartfelt haikus.
yes, as an apology to the victims of his the family of his victims.
Yeah.
That was precious.
That was great, dude.
That was really precious because Abomination is just waiting to get out and like destroy everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's playing it off really well that he's reformed.
It's either that or he could be kind of somewhere down the middle, like a shade of gray almost, because the last time I remember seeing him was in Shang-Chi, and he was working with Wong doing underground fighting. I don't know if that was for money or if they're training or they were up to something else. Not quite sure.
I don't.
Yeah.
That's been my question really since we found out She-Hulk was going to be happening. Like, where does this take place around Shang-Chi? Because phase 4 seems to be a little like helter-skelter. Like, where is everything taking place?
Right.
So this episode ends at the beginning of Shang-Chi, where they go to China and see Wong and Abomination in that prize fight. So I don't know how he managed to get there. Did like Wong break him out? Are they having to do a favor for something? That's the story I've been curious about since seeing Abomination.
Yeah,
So,
I kind of have a thought about that. Is I think we're gonna absolutely get into that in the next She-Hulk episode. Is we're gonna she's gonna have her 100% defense is now kind of shot, so she's got to come up with something new. But if this is in line with the Shang-Chi timeline, my guess is he's going to magically reappear in a cell, and she's going to say, well, he was gone, but he willingly came back into a cell. And so he's not really a flight risk. He could still get parole. Or Wong gets involved and he's like, well, yeah, I'm working with him, and you all know me. I'm Sorcerer Supreme. Like, something's going on here. So clearly something they're gonna be playing off of that, because that's now our case. But the key thing to note about the newscast at the end is they said it was leaked footage, or footage was leaked out. It doesn't exactly give the timeline of this is breaking news right now, this absolutely just happened. It could infer that this happened before and it just now is getting leaked out, like, oh, nobody's checked his cell for a couple of days or whatever, because somebody online, and I wasn't digging around too much for material for the show because I want us to talk about it and have our own thoughts, not be consumed by anybody else's. But somebody had pointed out, like in Shang-Chi at the end, Bruce is in his arm sling. And by that point, he's in the hologram, but in the show, he's already out of the sling. So the footage being leaked could mean there's a discrepancy of maybe a week or two that we don't know about. And they're only
Oh,
just somebody knows about Abomination getting out of there, and he's still in prison, but they're playing it like, hey, something weird's going on here, and they really don't want him out of prison. So maybe there's another force at play trying to keep him in there. I guess we'll find out, but that's just my thought.
yeah. My guess, if he was still alive, would be General Ross. Like,
Thunderbolt.
yeah, he'd be the one behind everything. We might see Red Hulk trying to frame Blonsky and Bruce Banner because that's his sting.
Right.
But I don't know if that's going to be the case.
Right.
I'm not sure, but definitely something was going on there, and you see Hulk zipping out into space on who knows what race of ship. I don't know if that was
Sakaar.
Was that?
Yeah, that was that ship that ran him off the road.
Yeah, I just couldn't think if it was like a Skrull ship or not Shi'ar. We haven't seen them yet.
Sakaran or something like that.
No,
I'm horrible with names.
The Kree. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Captain Marvel's people that are
not as Skrull?
No, well, they're both bad guys in the comics.
Okay.
The Kree and the Skrulls.
Okay. I'm getting them mixed up, so ignore me.
Skrulls shapeshift, Kree are supremacists. So it depends upon how you see them as bad.
At least he was going willingly, though. It didn't look like he was imprisoned or anything. He's just like, yeah, I gotta take care of like some nagging business back out in space somewhere.
Well, that tells me he's going to go see Fury, because the last person to get popped up into space was Monica Rambeau's daughter.
Oh.
In WandaVision. At the very end of that, someone from S.H.I.E.L.D. says someone would like to see you. And she brings her into this movie theater where there's nobody else, and she turns into a Skrull. The Rambeau gets all excited, and then she's like, he wants to see you. And she says, who? And she just points up. And of course, we know Fury's out in space at this point and has been for probably some time.
I forgot about that, because that wasn't that Captain Marvel where they showed him out there, or was that in one of the other movies? You don't have to exactly pinpoint it or anything. I think I'm catching on to what you're saying, though.
It might have been Spider-Man No Way Home, or I'm sorry, Far From Home.
Okay.
Because you find out that's not Fury,
right?
In that movie, that's Talos and his wife,
right?
So I'm not sure. I mean, it's going to be a guess how long Fury's been out off planet.
That's true.
So, but I definitely think that's where Hulk is going.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of wondered if like we're getting into like Planet Hulk, but I think we already got part of that, and like
I think we're going to
Ragnarok a little bit.
Yeah, I think what we're going to see is that's going to lead into either the Marvels or Secret Invasion.
Ooh, okay.
Because I know that's going to be Fury's show is Secret Invasion.
Oh, that's where he's going to come back big. Okay.
Yeah, which is going to be really weird and interesting to see how they do, because Secret Invasion is the follow-up to Civil War. And we're well past Civil War at this point. Like, the Skrulls were the ones that like orchestrated everything and then took advantage of the disassembly of the Avengers.
Boy, that's like forever and a day ago.
Yeah, right. That was like 15 years ago in the comics.
Oh my God.
So I'm really curious as to see, with the Skrulls being considered good guys in the MCU, where this is going to go and how the Skrull Queen's invasion is going to be played out.
Right.
And if Fury's going to have the best line from that series. She's explaining that their mission to invade the Earth was foretold by God. And Fury responds, oh, yeah? And he points over his shoulder, and you just see like Goldilocks come down. He's like, my God has a hammer. Coolest thing ever. It was awesome.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So, but that's where I hope Bruce is going. And the fact that Bruce is going is reflective of what we said last week, that we're not going to see him in most of the series. I think
Yeah.
we just got our 1 or 2 bits instead of the second at the end. I
Mhm.
think we're just going to see him at the beginning, and then now it's going to be Jennifer's show, which is good. It's
Yeah.
good.
If anything, I can maybe seeing showing up at the mid or end credit of the last episode where he comes back with whatever was going on. If he comes back, that's about where I would see him fitting in at the end.
Yeah, because I mean, and again, to your point, they can do World War Hulk at this point. He could be shot or spun off planet, turn into the other guy.
Mhm.
Anything's possible at this point
Yeah,
because
they
they've
just
already.
need the rights for that. That's all.
uh,
Well, and don't honestly for just because I'm curious for World War Hulk, don't you need like the X-Men? You need all the villains that are not yet established. You need like Doctor Doom, you need Fantastic Four. Don't you need like basically everything in the Marvel universe existing together in order to do that right? Or am I
they've
not knowing that correctly?
they've almost gotten that. So it was the Illuminati that sent Bruce into space,
Okay,
and they intended to send him to a peaceful planet where he could just be tranquil forever and not worry about anything and not hurt anyone.
sure.
But I think like an asteroid or another ship hit that ship or hit Hulk's ship, sent him off course, and then he went to Sakaar. Um,
Oh,
and then that ship self-destructed and blew everybody up.
okay.
So him coming back was wanting revenge on Tony, Reed Richards, Charles Xavier, Black Bolt, and
Something else.
yeah, one other person. There's the 5 people. I just can't remember who it was.
Okay.
Oh, Namor. It was Namor.
Oh, Namor. Okay.
Yeah. So, and he's going to be introduced later this year, of course, in Black Panther 2.
Okay.
Who again, he's the villain. They're turning their superheroes into villains at this point. So,
Or at least for a moment.
you know, he's probably going to be a dickhead until they introduce Sue Storm, and then he's going to be like, "Oh, hey, I'll be good for her." And then
Oh,
you're
is that how that?
love trick?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. He's always had the hots for Sue.
Okay. Well, that
He's
kind of makes
kidnapped
sense.
her a couple times too.
Yeah. Well, I know. Just off topic for a quick second is like everybody's like trying to peg like when Doctor Doom's going to show up, but I don't think that's going to be for a while. Not until they're
No.
ready for Fantastic Four, like in full force.
I think it's still up in the air who they're casting.
Yeah.
If they don't keep John Krasinski, that's going to be the dumbest shit ever. Like,
Oh, is Reed Richards?
yes, like that would just be the dumbest move. It that swerve that they did with Evan Peters in WandaVision was one thing.
Right.
Not having Krasinski play Reed Richards going forward would be really bad. Just like not having Patrick Stewart as Professor X would have been bad prior to the First Class movies coming out.
Right.
So
The only thing I could see is if they really wanted to mess with people's minds is to make John Krasinski Doctor Doom instead.
that would be cool.
Because I've yet to see him play something like anything remotely like that. And I think he could do it.
Probably. I mean, he's pretty smart as far as writing and directing and stuff goes. Again, we've talked about it before. I didn't watch The Office, so I don't know about his acting, but I did like him in A Quiet Place.
Yeah, he's in The Office, he's very funny. He's kind of like we'd be friends with a character like that.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
But okay, we could circle back to She-Hulk, but so I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Did you feel like the episode was a little too short? Because that is my biggest complaint about this episode is it felt like it was over just as it was getting started.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you told me this morning that it was 29 minutes with 7 minutes worth of credits, you forgot to mention that it also had like a minute and a half of previously on She-Hulk.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you about that.
Which, I mean, whatever. Again, that's great on X-Men, but in this particular series, if you don't have commercials, 20 minutes is not a good amount of time.
Right.
So this was really just a 20-minute episode. And that sucks. Like,
yeah.
Saturday morning cartoons are a little bit longer than that. Primetime sitcoms are a little bit longer than that.
Right.
this deserved to be a little longer.
Well, yeah, and even normal sitcoms have a beginning, middle, and end to an episode. This one just had a beginning and a middle.
Yeah, like nothing happened. There's nothing about Titania. It left you on that, I don't want to say cliffhanger, because there was nothing really that dire about it, with
Right.
her seeing the news footage of Wong and Abomination. That was neat as far
Yeah.
as ending it, but that wasn't, like you said, that wasn't an ending. There's kind of like, okay, well,
Right.
there's my question that I've had for the last several months. Now, what's the answer?
Yeah, I almost feel like they should have just paired like this episode up with the first episode and just played it last week as like the double opening, like 2 episodes, or just, I don't know, put this one and attach it to the first one and literally just do one nice long episode. It would have been just fine to then end like it did. Because then you would have had all of Bruce's little interactions and then he's on his way. Okay, now from here the show is itself.
Yeah, it feels more like a pilot,
Right.
a pilot movie than anything else, which is fine. Probably better than the way that they left it.
Yeah.
But I want to say you're definitely right about grouping the episodes, because this episode or this series, I want to say, is the first where they didn't put out 2 to 3 episodes first
Right.
or immediately. They did that with just about everything, I think.
Yeah, I think it would have been better served to actually do something like that with this.
Yeah. Yeah. That the one thing that bothers me about that is it makes me feel like it's going to be much shorter than everybody anticipated. And
Yeah.
since WandaVision, these series have been getting shorter and shorter.
Yeah, I haven't noticed too much because I've only watched like WandaVision of the Marvel shows. I haven't watched Loki. I haven't watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I haven't watched the, what is it, Miss Marvel? I haven't watched that.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I haven't seen that one either.
And then the I Am Groot show is only like, I think it's like 3 or 4 like 5-minute episodes, and that's it.
Yes, but they're really good.
Oh, I should probably check that out then.
I hope they're canon, because they're funny as shit. Wrong to a point, but funny as shit.
Okay.
My kids really like it, and
All right.
they like it because it's colorful.
Yeah.
I like it because it's baby Groot doing horrible things.
Okay. Okay, maybe that does pique my interest. That and the What If show kind of piques my interest, but I still haven't seen that yet.
I didn't finish What If, but it was neat.
Okay.
It wasn't like the What If comics that I remember as a kid. Like, there was no goofiness, satire to it.
Okay.
Which is fine. But it was an excuse for them to bring in like Captain Carter or the Marvel Zombies, which I was never a fan of, because at that point the zombie train had gotten way oversaturated.
Oh, I know, right?
But there is something about Doctor Strange that's worth watching that goes hand in hand with Multiverse of Madness.
Right.
So, and that's where you see Steven lose his heart, and it was fucked up and cool.
Yeah, I will say that the show does like, it does hit the strings for wanting to get attached to the characters, because I don't know, each time I'm watching this show, I feel like I'm connecting with it. It's like I think they got the characters dialed in. I think the only problem I'm having is how they're deciding how to break up the episodes and how they're ending them, and then the run times are just, it feels very disjointed. And it feels like it's interrupting this. It's getting in the way of the story more than like helping the story. But
kinda, I mean, like we said last week, there was nothing new about Titania other than she's a villainess, or villain, did this, and then nothing. Like, there was a little blurb on the news at the bottom, I think, that said, what was it?
it was talking about how it was an unfortunate you know, she was in,
Mistake.
it was an unfortunate mistake due to her low blood sugar.
That's right.
But they were calling her like a super powered influencer. So that's what she was being labeled as, not like a villain or anything. But she,
Oh,
you know, it was a speeding ticket case she was in the middle of. And she's like, I just got unhappy because my blood sugar was low. So I went on a rage.
goddamn Twinkies.
You know, seeing the little ticker like that, I thought, there you go. You're hitting some nice little Easter eggs right there.
Yes, that finally I caught an Easter egg because I still haven't caught any of the other ones from the last episode.
I caught a couple. When she's looking up the new job search, she is on the web page, and it actually says "man with iron claws and bar fight" or "man with metal claws and bar fight" is like the name of a article
Oh,
on
I didn't
there.
see that. I just saw Swiss mascots or some shit like that.
Yep, it was on that same page, and I think I wrote down. Yeah, it was "man with iron claws and bar fight." Then there was one. God, there was a couple others on that page. One was like Iron Man Chef or something like that. As like the targeted ad. Or no, maybe that was the QR code that was on that page. So if you're looking for those codes for the comic books, I'm pretty sure it was in that scene. So you'll have to freeze frame that in order to get that. But there was
Oh,
like
okay.
another one on there. Oh, it was Statue Man coming out of ocean. Um, in reference to the Eternals, I guess.
Oh. I still haven't seen that, but I did see a still of that.
I haven't seen it, but I have seen that same still too.
Okay.
It kind of makes me now want to go watch that and actually rewatch Incredible Hulk, oddly enough, after this episode.
I have nothing bad to say about the Incredible Hulk movie, other
No.
than they left some plot holes left open.
Well, the
But
leader, of course.
exactly. So I don't know if that was something they wanted to do, if Ed
Mm,
Norton was still involved, because that gentleman was only there because he was friends with Ed Norton, and Ed Norton said, "Hey, let's give him this role."
right.
So it would have been neat to see,
Yeah.
but well, I don't know. It was still a good movie.
Oh, yeah.
Ty Burrell, for not being comical, was fantastic in that movie. Um, and just, you don't miss Ed Norton when it comes to Mark Ruffalo, though. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they both brought something different to the role. They both did good. They did better than Eric Bana, I thought, in the original Hulk movie by Ang Lee.
yeah,
I mean,
that
I'll give credit to Ang Lee one thing. The desert fight scene, that was pretty badass.
where he meditates next to a bush.
No, where he was throwing tanks and smashing helicopters.
Oh, if you want a good time, if you haven't played it, Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction on the PS2 was a fantastic
Oh, I
game.
forgot about that game.
It was made by the same people that did Prototype,
Yep.
and it plays just like it, except for it's the Hulk. You could make boxing gloves out of cars, throw the tanks
Yeah.
like you said. It was dope. And
God,
of
I
course,
forgot about that.
Abomination fights. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
Hey, all about beat 'em up, smash up games like that.
Yeah.
You could probably still get that game too. If not, have it emulated somewhere.
I have it up in my closet. I just haven't pulled it out in a long time.
Yeah.
But anyway, She-Hulk, there was not a whole lot that she did other than have dinner with her family this episode.
Well, she took the job.
She took the job. I want to say the banter with her boss was more interesting than her trying to figure out whether or not she was going to take the job. Because
Right.
clearly I think she's being duped by Blonsky.
Yeah. Or
And,
something's going on. Yeah.
yeah. And then her boss, the head of the firm, kind of reminds me of the old man from RoboCop.
Oh,
where
yeah.
He's not bad, but he is in charge of this corporation that's evil. So I'm
The
not
old
sure.
man.
I'm not sure how that's going to go. It's like I kept wanting to be like, he reminds me of Dick Jones. No, I think he's more of the old man so far.
Dick Jones, you're
I work for Dick
fired.
Jones. Thank you. So, but I'd like to see some action in the next episode. I'm figuring we will.
Yeah, we gotta start seeing a little bit more than just the training montage and just
Yeah,
her drinking and deforming back to herself.
which was funny. It was
Yeah, that
still
was
funny.
different metabolism.
Damn it.
If I was still in Hulk form, I could have a normal conversation with you, but you made me humans, and I just had like 3 drinks in a row, so I'm bombed already.
Well, at least he made her drunk to fucking lay that horrible news on her. Because I mean, firing her for doing the right thing, and even said, "No, you did the right thing. Sorry, I can't keep you."
Right. Which I can actually see why you would need to do that. It sucks. It's like, yeah, you did the right thing, but we also lost our case, and we can't be having you intimidating juries in Hulk form or having anything like that happen again. But then again, that's why she got hired by the defense now. So now she's going to play the other side, and they want her in Hulk form. They're going to use that to their advantage.
Oh yeah, that's going to be their gimmick.
Yeah.
And she'll be the face of whatever, like they said.
Yeah.
And I think everything's going to blow up on her by the end to where she's going to be, you know what? I am my own person.
Yeah.
Maybe she goes into fucking business for herself or starts her own, not firm, but is her own defense attorney without working under somebody else's firm. I don't know. Maybe Pepper hires her. So
maybe, or maybe a certain Murdoch comes around and decides he wants to help her get her foot started in that door.
Oh, that's right. I forgot he's going to show up.
Don't know when though. We really don't know much about how the story is going to progress.
Yeah. And how much longer we're going to have to wait from that moment to his show to find out what's going on. Which was kind of the problem watching fucking season 2 of Daredevil, because you wanted to find out what happens with Punisher after that.
Right.
No, I mean, I want to see more action, more ass whooping.
Yeah.
And now that you say Daredevil, Kingpin will likely show up at some point, or she'll have to defend Kingpin.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Her against Matt Murdock. Oh my God, that would be freaking hilarious. In like a civil suit case, not like an actual criminal case.
Oh yeah. And then seeing her fucking break the fourth wall to complain what a dick he is.
I'm defending this dick and I'm fighting this dick. Like, I'm surrounded by dicks.
Dicks. Oh God. Speaking of which, the guy that worked at her old firm that was, what's the word I'm looking for? Heavily misogynistic towards her.
Nepotism.
Nepotism does the same thing this episode, and you're just kind of like, fuck, I hope I don't see you anymore. You're a prick.
So he had a line that just made me go, oh my God, he didn't just say that.
Yeah, like who? For one thing, who says that to somebody?
There's a hot chick over there. I'm gonna go talk to it.
I'm gonna go talk to it. Oh my God.
I was just like, did I just hear this? What?
I'm gonna have to.
I'm like, oh my God.
That's not okay. That's not okay.
And also remember, this show was written and directed and produced by largely women. So they put that in there.
Yes. And as long as it's not like an exploitation film where like the man is seriously the man.
Nah, yeah.
I don't care. I mean, I think it's a wonderful show. Like it's great. And if it's something that gets my daughters interested in filmmaking, writing, drawing, whatever, then huzzah, I'm down with it.
Yeah, and I don't mind characters like that. They're for comic relief. They're not.
It's not force feeding the woke issue like people are saying.
No, it's you go to something like, say, Married with Children, Kelly, the ditzy blonde. If you made her anything else, that show wouldn't have worked.
No.
You needed a character like that in that. You could also say the same thing about like half the other sitcoms. There's always somebody who's just a bit wrong.
Yeah, there's got to be that, like you said, ditzy or less intelligent, more gullible person.
Hell,
to,
Modern Family. I mean, you look at that, any of the episodes from the first 4 seasons, and you're like, you can't say that these days. Well, they needed to have that.
yeah, yeah, and that was a fantastic series. Again, speaking of Ty Burrell,
Yeah.
Which I think the only reason why I really watched that was because he and Ed O'Neill were in it together, and I was like, oh, that's got to be cool.
Oh, that'd be another great cameo. Have Ed O'Neill just kind of walk in, look around, and be like, "Oh, I'm not doing this." And he just walks away. Just a quick little throwaway scene.
Or be
Or they walk into a shoe store and he's walking out.
I was going to say, her going into a donut shop and him complaining about committing crimes.
That'd be great too. See, that is kind of a perk of this show, is you can do so many different Easter eggs. They even had like Ally McBeal playing on a TV in the bar.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, when she's in there getting drunk after she's been fired, and she's sitting there and she's like, I'm gonna be scaling back the budget here. This is my last drink. And then as you look above, like there's a scene of Callista Flockhart actually walking into the room, and that was her show, was Ally McBeal.
And which is funny because Tony was on that show too.
I know. That was that was definitely before he became Tony Stark.
If I remember correctly, that was
a couple of years.
Yeah, that was the last big thing he did before he got straight.
Yeah.
And it was the comics that helped him really get through rehab. Like, he just had people sending him Iron Man comics, and he just got so into that shit that he needed to play the role. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, fucking bless him for it. He's been clean ever since.
Yeah. Okay. So that's another good question. How do you feel like Tatiana is doing as Jennifer and She-Hulk so far?
I like her. I mean, it's, again, the character's a little bit different than the comic, but that's not bad at all.
Right.
And she's really not that different in general. Like, it's just the origin story that's different. Like, yeah, almost every detail of She-Hulk, despite the nerds complaining about how she looks, is perfect.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at her hair is that same dark green color that you'd see in the comic books, and it looks fucking perfect.
It looks really good.
Yeah. And for it not being real, it looks dope.
Yeah. I think the only time the CGI kind of looks a little funny is when she's surrounded by like 12 or 14 normal people. Yeah. And she really sticks out. It's like, oh man, she needs to be in something actiony to keep it moving.
Yes, otherwise you come off looking like Princess Fiona or some shit. So. Yeah. But no, I like her. She's gonna be if She-Hulk works out really well, I think she's gonna have an awesome career ahead of her. Like, maybe even doing action flicks, comedy action, whatever. But yeah, she's doing a good job. Great. Yeah. Now her assistant, she's funny as hell to me. She needs a whole new wardrobe because those shoulder pads were out in the 80s.
I was gonna say, like, that was a wardrobe choice. I don't know. Or if that was done on purpose, I have no idea. But like, she's funny as hell, and so I'm hoping she gets a little more something she could sink her teeth into on this show too.
Yeah, because like, she's one of the most realistic people on the show. I mean, Jennifer's is the most realistic person on the show to me.
Right.
Like, her running into fucking doors that say out when push out when she's pulling in.
Yeah.
You know, that everybody does that. She's always got a foot in her mouth. She's got her inner monologue that comes out. Like, that's a little bit of, everybody has that in them.
Oh yeah, like when she was taking the tour of the place and she's like, I don't know what I'm doing here. This isn't good. As everybody's staring at her, gawking at her, or like the one woman coming out of her office was like, what the fuck?
Behemoth. No, but I was just like, and I'm gonna have that stuck in my head.
You're welcome.
Thank you. What the fuck were we talking about? Her walking into the office.
Yeah. Taking the tour.
Oh, like, in that regard, they did the same thing last week. where they didn't break the fourth wall, but maybe one or two times. So again, people complaining that it's going to be like a ripoff of Deadpool or whatever else, that's simply just not the case. She only talks to you once, maybe twice in the whole show.
Yeah, like that I think was the major, and then later the comment about I literally was somebody else. There was a little glance at the camera when it went back to her, and then back to the phone conversation, like, uh-huh. So at least they're playing it somewhat coy and subtle sometimes. Otherwise, it's the one time is fairly obvious.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Oh God, speaking of fairly obvious, when she goes to see Tim Roth, his fucking exposition of who he is
Yeah.
was the most blatant exposition I have seen ever. Like, yeah, it's just me now. Here's my backstory in like one sentence.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, we knew who you were, dog, but thank you.
Well, Tim Roth stole this episode for me. Like him and his reasoning was awesome, whether it's a cover story or you could actually believe it. For a brief moment, I'm like, is he really in control of himself? And to a point, he's very correct. Like, I was a loyal soldier. I doped up on the super soldier and I was sent on a mission, and that shit screwed with my head. Well, wait a minute. You were on the job, the government gave you a drug and sent you down the warpath, and it messed with you, and that's why you went into this chaos. It's like you could see the wheels turning, like, we got a case here because you didn't just go on a bloody rampage just because you wanted to. You wanted to because of what the drugs were doing to your system. You were not psychotic before, you were a good soldier before.
Yeah, maybe a little sadistic
yeah,
but he was a mercenary. That just happens. Or contractor right. They're called now. So I mean, he wasn't wrong,
right,
by any means, but we all know Abomination's just a piece of shit that he wants to be the biggest and strongest there is.
Right.
So I'm really waiting to see him pull his hand.
Yeah.
Especially with Bruce being off planet. So
right.
Now she's going to be the only person strong enough to deal with his bullshit.
Right. Now,
if he's even going to be the main villain.
Now, do you think there's anything to his 7 pen pals, or do you know what that might be talking about? Because I was like, he kept bringing that up like a couple times. Like, I've made like several prison pen pals, and we all want to relocate to this nice, quiet land somewhere. And I'm like, who the fuck are you friends with in prison that you're pen paling with?
Okay, so the Thunderbolts movie is coming.
Oh, I never caught that.
Yes, so God, Elaine from Seinfeld, I can't think of her name.
Oh, she's like what, Val or something in one of these?
Yes, she's Madam Hydra.
Okay.
Valentina in the comics is Madam Hydra. So
that's the full name. Okay.
Yeah, she is Queen Wicked Bee. She is getting a super team of her own together. And now I thought it was going to be the Dark Avengers, which is a team that Norman put together after he discredited S.H.I.E.L.D. and Tony and everybody else.
Sure.
But I think she's going to be putting that together. But now, instead of it being called Dark Avengers, I think they're just going to put all those villains in the Thunderbolts. So you're going to have Zemo leading U.S. Agent, the new Black Widow, probably Abomination, and God willing Venom.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, see, the Venom in Dark Avengers was Matt Gargan, the Scorpion. Was not Eddie Brock, so we'll see how that goes.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I still like Eddie as Lethal Protector.
Yeah.
So much better story than Scorpion having the symbiote on him.
That's true.
It just didn't work well.
Right.
So, but I'm hoping that's what that is, because I love the gentleman that plays Baron Zemo.
Okay.
Much cooler than he is in the comics. And I wouldn't mind seeing them have a team, because all those performers are great.
Yeah.
And again, you haven't seen US Agent yet, but Wyatt Russell was awesome.
Okay.
You do not leave that show liking him.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah, so it's he's just like is in the comics. Nobody fucking likes him.
I guess I have some catching up to do on some other shows here.
uh Between that and just the shit talking between Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan is
Yeah.
just it's great. It's like watching Rock and John Cena fuck with each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or
So
just go watch Peacemaker. No, I'm kidding.
oh, so what else did you get? What did you get from this 20 minutes of show that we haven't talked about yet?
I think the only other thing I have here is Jen's phone. When she went to unlock it, it was a picture of Captain America's ass
I did not catch that.
for an Easter egg. So it's like, well, it keeps the running gag of she's got a huge
fetish.
crush for Steve. I'm almost hoping that old man Steve shows up in this, and we get to see like her just going gaga, like, oh my god, Captain America. Because I think she's totally sweet on him. So
Yes, and wanting to know that he got fucked. No, that would be great. Like, I don't think they're gonna bring Steve back anytime soon because they're stupid. But
if they do, it'll be Black Panther too.
Maybe.
Well, it's
I
a
don't
death
know.
scene for T'Challa. It makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I figure.
But I think they should save him, honestly. But
I don't know that he's going to be coming back until after Captain America 4 comes out.
okay.
Because Chris Evans is saying, I'm not Captain America. That's Sam's job now.
Yeah.
So, and that's fine. That's how it is in the comics,
We'll see.
I think. But I mean, after that, yeah, I think if that doesn't prove popular enough or the demand is still there for Chris Evans to come back, it's the multiverse. There's thousands of ways that they could bring him back.
Oh, like Captain America Hydra agent. A long-time secret Hydra agent. That would be so weird.
You know, there's a reason why I haven't read comic books in almost 15 years. Like after Spider-Man One More Day,
yeah,
where he sells his marriage, or Mary Jane sells their marriage to get Aunt May back, and nobody remembers Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Peter Parker, Spider-Man. They did that a little bit better, a lot better in Doctor Strange than they did in the comics. Like that was so horrible that the writer Joe Straczynski apologized for it, wanted his name taken off of it because it was so horrible.
Yeah.
And it even made me stop reading comics. That was the point where I was like, I think I'm done here, family. I think I'm done.
Time for a little brick ski.
Yeah, like it was a good 20 years, but I'm out, y'all.
Yeah. You got anything else for this episode?
No. I just want to see what's going to happen next, see a little bit of fighting and see who she's going to be fighting, because there's a lot of Hulk and She-Hulk villains that come with a lot of ass kicking.
Do you think Titania is going to be anything, or is she just going to be more like the nuisance character? I guess that's my last question for you.
I think she might be a nuisance. Okay, I think what she's going to end up being is Speedball from the Spider-Man game.
Oh,
where she's causing trouble for clicks.
Yeah,
that makes sense to me. But again,
that's an interesting idea.
Yeah, because I don't think she's an influencer in the comics. She's been around way longer than influencers.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not sure.
All right. Well, I'm excited for the next episode at least.
Yeah, I am too. If they're going to be releasing them at 20 minutes, they could release 2 a week, I think.
I know that is like the one. Say what you will about CGI this or whatever that. None of that's a deal breaker. It's 20 minutes, and I don't know. The stopping and starting is just that's not helping the pacing of the show. It's actually hurting the show, in my opinion.
I think
But
so
it's
too.
still worth watching. I just, if you're not down for trying to wait a week for another 20-minute episode, like if they're all going to be like this, in hindsight, you might as well have waited till it was all out and then just binged it.
That's what I did with WandaVision.
Yeah.
And after that, like, because people were spoiling Captain America and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, better get on to watching this really fast. And I did the same thing with Loki.
Yeah.
Although Loki was so good that I wanted to watch it every week. So
Okay. Is that 6 episodes or how many is Loki?
6, I think.
I could probably burn that out then.
And they're within an hour, but they're very interesting. Like I like what they did with Loki and creating the multiverse.
Well, I'm a big fan of Tom Hiddleston, and I've been wanting to see Loki, but it's like I need other shows on Disney Plus I can watch since they don't put these out on physical media. So
yes, well, you're gonna want to watch Loki before Ant-Man 3 comes out.
Yeah, because that's where Kang gets introduced, correct?
Yes, actual Kang, which is still Jonathan Majors playing him, but Jonathan Majors is a completely different version of himself in Loki.
Right.
He's kind of nutty as a squirrel, but really cool.
Okay.
And then the best part, I think, is Owen Wilson. Like he and Tom Hiddleston together are fantastic. I'm not the biggest Owen Wilson fan most times. Like I think his best role is Lightning McQueen, but this I think is his best live action work. Like his character is great and he plays him great.
I liked him in Shanghai Noon and Nights, but that's
Roy.
Yeah. I mean, I think he played really well with Jackie Chan on that. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, his sense of humor takes some getting used to.
Yeah.
What really made me not like him as when I was younger was one, The Haunting. Like his character was just not doing it for me.
That movie.
So when he got his head lopped off, I was like, woohoo!
Yep.
And then Meet the Fockers. Like I hated that goddamn movie for the same reason I couldn't stand Spider-Man 2. How long are you going to punch the main character until he just kind of like, okay, we need to have some kind of plot here. We're just punching this guy's fucking soul in the dick.
Right.
So, and I think that's why I didn't like him for a long time.
Yeah, the only movie of his that I kind of like and kind of don't like at the same time is Wedding Crashers. I think Vince Vaughn is great in that movie, and I don't know, Owen Wilson's character is just so not likable. It's kind of hard to feel for that character like at all during that whole movie.
Yeah. That's one of the very few movies where I'm like, oh my God, Will Ferrell was the shit.
Oh my God, yeah.
And because they only used him about that much in the movie, and that went a long way too.
Yeah. So that's when you could do character appearances like that or guest appearances like that and get maximum value without having to drop the full paycheck for them.
Yeah, and because it's done with friends, that extra effort is put there. And Farrell, I think, always puts that extra effort out there.
Oh yeah, he does.
Sometimes too much, but that's him being directed to do shit.
You think he'd ever fit in Marvel or DC at all? I mean, I know we're way off topic on this, and we can end after this, but
no.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I mean,
he's too much of his own character to really try and shoehorn into something else character.
I mean, they managed to get John C. Reilly in there.
That's true.
But I mean, yeah, he's a more versatile actor than I think what we've seen Will Ferrell be able to do.
Oh, yes, yes.
And I'm not even a fan of his, but I respect him a lot.
Oh yeah, I love Elf. I cannot hate the man for doing Elf. So
I got forced to watch that movie once, and everyone's like, "Why didn't you like it?" I'm like, because Gremlins is a Christmas movie to me.
That's true.
I hate Christmas movies.
Yeah, but we like She-Hulk.
I do like She-Hulk, and if there's a Christmas episode, we'll probably end up watching that, but I doubt it.
Oh, that'd be pretty hilarious if there was like a secret episode in like a few months that there was a She-Hulk Christmas episode with Daredevil and like all the Defenders and everybody's getting drunk.
That would be great because I mean we're supposed to be getting the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
Oh,
So,
that's right. I forgot about that.
and that's going to be the last time we see Batista, I think.
Oh,
No,
Guardians 3.
yeah, Guardians 3 is going to be his last role.
Yep. He's
So,
not going to do Dex after that. Well, enlarge the Guardians of the Galaxy is good to complete. It's getting a complete overhaul from what I've heard. So it won't
yeah.
be like the same lineup like at all.
No, yeah, I think you're right. I think it might be 2, 3 of them. I don't think Rocket's going to be there anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know, but you're right. They're going to rearrange the team as they would in the comics, like the Avengers would be or the X-Men would be rearranged.
Yeah.
So, which people are going to be like, I don't like it. It'll end up being pretty good. It usually does.
It's James Gunn. He'll deliver a good movie.
I don't think I've ever seen James Gunn do a bad movie before.
I have not. I've from Slither all the way to the Suicide Squad to the Guardians movies. Like I remember when Guardians was first coming out and people were like, he's taking a C-level team and they're making a movie out of it. And all I'm here because I knew nothing of Guardians at the time. I'm like, but man, that concept art looks pretty sweet. And I like him as a director. It can't be that bad, can it? Well, I saw the movie going in knowing nothing about it, and I'm like, this was fucking awesome. So, I mean, if he could take like a lower tier character, he's done that with Peacemaker for DC. He's done that with the Suicide Squad for DC. He could have had his choice of any of those, and he took lesser properties or properties that needed a second chance. And look where they're at now. People rave about Peacemaker, and people, even though the Suicide Squad was a failure, it actually was a really good movie.
Was the sequel a failure, like budget wise?
Well, it was released in the theaters during the pandemic.
Oh,
It was one of
that's
those that was
nobody's
like
fault.
day and date with like Warner Brothers doing their infinite wisdom on that. But you know, if he rumors are he's being set up with a very sweet deal at Warner Brothers going forward. So he's going to be signed on for a few years with them, like they did with Matt Reeves, who just signed a 10-year contract with Warner Brothers to do not just Batman, but other properties as well and original films.
Ah, well,
And
good
it
on
sounds
him.
like they're doing that with James Gunn too, and he's going to be given some of the movies for DC as well. So he's, they're setting up some big directors for long-term futures with WB right now because they want consistency, singular vision. I'm not saying I love Warner Brothers and everything they're doing right now, but they
They're
are
certainly
setting
consistent.
up a foundation. Yeah, they are setting a foundation for the future. What they're doing with the past and their current projects, that's kind of what everybody's arguing about. But once we get started with the newer directors, that's going to be good. But hey, you got Kevin Feige rocking with Marvel. We got She-Hulk. We got some fun movies coming up shortly. I'm looking forward to everything, and I'm looking forward to continuing She-Hulk.
Yeah, I am too. I hope it next episode is a little bit longer.
Yes.
And if it's not, I hope there's at least 7 episodes, 8 episodes.
I do too. And that's She-Hulk 2.
Wait,
Peace
flex.